Okay, today we are going to be talking from Fundamentals of Unicult. We're going to be talking about a really fun aspect, the last two chapters, which are membership and structure, and also the outline for global takeover. If you haven't got a copy of Fundamentals of Unicult, you don't know that the last chapter is called Outline for Global Takeover. And as a cult, it is our mission and our goal to take over the world with our ideas. UNICULT is not a closed, insular group. We are here because we are all one. And what all one means is that our religion actually applies to everyone. Our religion actually has the ability to make every single person's life better on this planet. That is a very seemingly presumptuous thing to say because many other religions have attempted the same thing, and they have, as it says in the beginning of the book, they have attempted to bully and beat and force other people to believe what they believe. But Unicult is not about that. Unicult is actually about listening to each person, finding out what it is that they need, and then creating the reality that allows for their greatest joy and also everyone else's greatest joy. In Unicult, we believe that every person has the ability to harmonize their own energy, and when they harmonize their own energy, they harmonize the energy with the rest of the world as well. So Unicult is for the entire world. Unicult is for everyone because we are all one. And Unicult understands the role that each person's unique personal reality plays in our overall diverse and bountiful reality. Our abundance comes from our diversity, and we haven't lived that way. Earth is not built that way. So if you have the book, you can turn to page 119, and you can go ahead and look at this section we have called Membership and Structure. Unicult membership is 7 tiers high. If you're in Unicult and if you've attempted to climb all 7 of these tiers, you will learn and you will find out that only 3 levels are built right now. As Unicult grows, we will expand these different tiers. Part of this is because we don't want people. It's really easy to latch on to the idea that you want to just ascend the levels. And if I was a predatory cult leader, I would have made 777 levels, and I would have had them be exorbitantly more and more expensive as time goes on, which is what some other religions do. I won't name names. Because the human desire to follow a pre-established structure and get check boxes and check marks to the external reality of ascension is really strong, right? Like if there's a ladder in front of you, it's hard not to climb it. So part of the levels of Unicult is both the acknowledgement of that gamification strategy of organizational structure, of like, yeah, well, I want to be at the next level because that makes me better. But also the acknowledgement that that doesn't make you better and that there really isn't anything else to offer at another level other than more responsibility and maybe more knowledge. But in Unicult, we don't withhold knowledge behind paywalls, which is how you're able to watch Cam Church for free right now. Right? This is the best of the best stuff. We're not withholding any information about aliens. All the information about aliens is here on the YouTube channel, and in the content. So we're not withholding information. Really, as you ascend the levels, all you're getting is more responsibility, which can be very rewarding, and it also gives you the ability to influence the direction of Unicult. The levels aren't meant to be this thing that you're constantly chasing after or need to be validated. Every member of Unicult is valid and important, whether they're on the board or whether they just joined. It's all the same. We're trying to dismantle the hierarchical structure without dismantling the hierarchical structure. We're trying to mentally dismantle it, but also abide by it in the sense that it does make sense as an organizational structure for practical matters of operating a nonprofit organization. We like literally have to have a board, for instance. So we do have three levels built out. The first is the official level, which is $11 for a lifetime. Then we have the second level, which is devoted membership, which is $22 for the training, and then you can attend weekly meetings. And if you're in the Unicult Discord server, you'll see different events like movie night, game night, uni brains, every single event, Thursday church, all of the beautiful prayer circles and everything like that, all of that has been organized, not by me, but by devoted members. So the devoted members get together and they come up with these ideas of what they think the community would like to do. And then the devoted members will lead or organize these events. That's the second level. The third level are the magicians. The magicians help onboard the devoted members. They keep the organizational structure and all of that. And then the board isn't really a level, but the board does exist. The rest of the members, like level 4, 5, 6, and 7, are still going to be created, and we will create those levels as we have need for them. Each level is through the mail. Oh, this is outdated. It used to be that I would send each person a physical, tangible reward for their spiritual ascension. And the idea was that as you decided that you were going to ascend, then you would fill out the paperwork and do the training, and then you would get a physical reward for doing so. So we have changed that a little bit, as it was a lot of work. It was exhausting. It was so hard. I had people writing me, 10-page letters about how they were ascending, and then I had these pocket watches at one point that were like engraved with UNICULT for these different levels and things like that. Maybe we'll get back to that at some point, but right now it was too much work for me to handle. As you ascend each level of UNICULT, you will be guided through the path to joy to acknowledge and embrace your true heart. That's still true. As members ascend the levels of UNICULT, they gain more wisdom, opportunity, and influence in the community. Mentorship programs, magicianship awards, and opportunity to create media all come with different levels. Level 7 is the ability to be employed with UNICULT and thusly to be paid to do the work of your true heart as dictated by you. What this means is that, and this is the reason why level 7 doesn't yet exist, is that the idea that we can theoretically give you almost like a universal basic income to do whatever work it is that you truly want to do, and having that be within the structure of Unicult as your employer, as your religion, that's our goal eventually. We don't have the resources yet for that or the size, but theoretically, the idea would be that if you've dedicated your life to Unicult for this amount of time and you've ascended all the levels and you've put in the energy and the effort to be a leader in the community, that eventually then we would be able to employ you to do whatever you wanted to do. And every day you would wake up and say, what is it I want to do? Oh, I want to paint. Oh, I want to create like a system of this. Oh, I want to make these beauty products for Unicult. Oh, I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to lay in bed today. You get paid. You get paid. That's the vision. It is up to you how high you want to go in Unicult. Not everyone will have the motivation or determination to reach the higher levels. We used to allow anyone to ascend to any level, but then we had some problems with power hungry people, and we didn't really account for that in the beginning. We're learning a lot, and there are people sometimes who aren't and this is how capitalism works, and this is the problem with the world right now, is that usually the people at the top are the people who have the ego-based reasons to be at the top. Most people who are gentle and loving and kind aren't necessarily thinking, I should be in charge of everyone. I should be at the forefront of this endeavor. I should be leading everyone. I happen to be a unique version of that reality where I am kind-hearted and loving and driven to be in a position of power. But most people who desire to be in positions of power do so from a place of insecurity. And even I had to really analyze, and dismantle all those real reasons of fear-based or insecurity-based reasons why I wanted to be in a position of power as a cult leader. And I constantly check myself, and I have, people in Unicult who check me. Maybe not as hard as they could, but I hope y'all keep. I get pushback. I get pushback. So anyway, we used to let anybody ascend the levels, and it got really bad. And so now you have to sort of prove that you're going to be a gentle leader and a leader who understands the principles of all one. And if you can live by the principles of all one, then you will have no difficulty ascending to the higher levels. We simply cannot stand for tyrannical leadership. That was our mistake in the beginning. You learn boundaries. If you experience financial hardship, please reach out and we will help find a financial donor to work with you if you can't afford it. The levels are $11, $22, $33, and they'll never be more than $77. So it's not an insane expectation financially. Unicult members are generous and kind. All resources that go to Unicult directly influences the world to making the world a better place. We do a lot for the world with comparably small resources, and we appreciate the support that each of our members offer through their contribution and their donations. Ultimately, it is each person's decision to ascend the levels of Unicult and acquire the tangible rewards of doing so. Participation is always allowed, and all are always welcome. One of the ones that I didn't mention is the brainwasher training, which allows you to create media in Unicult, and that's not necessarily an official level, but it is a training that you can go through. So let's talk about the outline for Global Takeover, one of my favorite chapters in Unicult. And as you can see, the actual logo here is designed with different numbers, and it's actually the logo. Someone helped me create the logo, and someone else helped me create the meaning behind the logo. And every single level of the logo, every aspect of the logo has a different meaning, and it's coordinated by the colors of the rainbow, and it's also coordinated by these symbols. So let's start with the number 1, which is the red, the first red, and that is Eve, otherwise pronounced Eve. It's 3v3. And Eve is a sect of Unicult dedicated to bringing about matriarchal change in individuals and industry. Okay, so why are we so determined to overtake the entire world? The goal of Unicult is to have a positive effect on all global industries, because we understand that the industries of our society is the structure that our brain is the macrocosm that our microcosm brain is interacting with. So as we change our own internal structure, we have to then change the external structure as well. So as we focus on these external realities, most of these are external societal endeavors, as we focus on our internal states with the religion of Unicult, which is part of the logo, we also are focused externally on these major industries. And the way I see this is kind of like how, and fuck. I don't know if Elon Musk is a good guy or a bad guy. I don't know. But let's pretend for the sake of this argument that he's a good guy and he's here to change certain industries and align them with utopian principles. I don't really believe this is true anymore. I used to think this. Um, let's just pretend that he's a certain piece of the puzzle. Then you can see me, Unicole Unicron, as another piece of that puzzle, of the sense of I am taking on different industries that need to be addressed, that need to be renovated. And you, as a person, you might have a passion for one of these industries and you might want to work with me to change them. Just like if you were into space, you would be like, oh, I want to work with Elon Musk. Like that would make sense because that's the puzzle piece that he's sort of governing over, right? So the ones that I'm operating and have a passion and understanding and a deep sense of how they should change are the ones we're going to discuss. And so as you see these different industries, you can say, wow, these are things that I really want to align with, and these are things that I'm really passionate about. Or maybe you have a completely different puzzle piece of how to transform Earth. We have to work together. Is the whole point. So these externalized realities, the first one is Eve, pronounced Eve, is 3v3. It's dedicated to bringing about matriarchal change in individuals and industry. It utilizes both technology and magic to promote values of equality for all, that's matriarchal change, empowerment, nurturing acceptance, and life sparking change. One of the central tenets of Eve is that divine feminine belongs at the forefront of AI development, given its role to bring in and nurture new life. What projects do we currently have under Eve? Eve's Robot Dreams, the robot brothel that I attempted to open, was under Eve. Even just getting the media attention about how robots should be giving consent and how to create a world where we aren't just raping robots was part of Eve. Like that initiative, that consciousness change, that consciousness shift, just the conception that a robot could theoretically be raped, that a robot could theoretically give consent. That what came from me, and we put it out into the world, and it was covered in Newsweek and Rolling Stone and magazines and different publications in every single language all across the world. So we are changing the world, even if we didn't officially get Eve's Robot Dreams as an establishment. That's okay. It's not what was meant to happen at this point. So we put a spark of change into the world through that endeavor. Another endeavor that we do is with Unicoven in UNICULT, and we do rituals and different things there. And then my book, A Spiritual Approach to Emergent Technology, would be considered a sect of Eve because it's all about technology and it's all about having that spiritual connection to technology. The orange, the second one of orange, is Uniscience. And Uniscience is a scientific focus dedicated to research and exploration within and beyond the physical realm. This is the idea of sort of pairing metaphysical sciences with real sciences, and we've had some really awesome leaders in this space. Rue has been doing an amazing job of university and teaching about different scientific articles and getting everybody sort of talking about all the different potentials of realities and holograms and everything that exists. And we've also had Space Freckle doing Unibrains, which is an offshoot of university, talking about the Ayurvedic, I don't know what they're called, but the different ways of being in Ayurveda and the different constitutions, let's say, and how they react and how they relate to the rest of your reality and more. So we have people in Unicult who are working on Uniscience and really dedicated to understanding and promoting these scientific understandings and having our spirituality be really connected to and rooted to science without being hindered by it. Because sometimes scientific understanding is limiting, and sometimes spiritual understanding is not grounded. So we like to find a middle ground there. The yellow one is for uni kids, which I'm I'm working on, having some babies, as you all probably know, and as I do have children, and as we have more children being raised in Unicult, I would like to see us have um, a new educational model be built around a I have the idea for on Uniacres to have like a daycare aspect, like a farm centered daycare aspect where people can come and the kids can come and play and learn, and then also creating a new educational model. So I have studied Montessori, and Montessori is like awesome, but the problem with Montessori is that it raises children for a certain world that is rapidly disappearing. You know, like one of the main tenets of Montessori is to teach kids how to hold a pencil, and unless you're using your Apple Pencil, I don't know how many kids really need to be holding pencils. It's probably a good skill to have, but should it be the foundation for every interaction? Maybe not anymore. So when we look at these educational models, we realize that every type of activity, every focus is preparing kids for a certain world and a certain expectation of the world. And as we teach our children, we also create the future. So Unikids is a multi-layered initiative meant to entertain. We want to have a YouTube channel. We want to create content. We're working on books. Ghosty has been working on a really cool book that's a collaboration between Unikids and Eve, and also Unicult Business Enterprises because it's got the publishing as well. And the book is about translating some of the Unicult principles into children's literature into a book for children. We want to have YouTube channels. We want to have content for kids that helps create the bridge to children for the Unicult understandings so that they can be raised with tools for how to enter into the new age and to deal with other people and to have conflict resolution. The things that we teach in Unicult are not just for adults. Children can also benefit from them. So we have this multi-layer initiative to entertain, educate, and empower the children of Earth. It includes media, an interactive platform, and a new innovative educational method. Again, you might hear something like this and be like, this is my purpose. This is my life purpose. I have so many ideas about this. I want to work with Unicult. Join Unicult. Join us. Let us know. This is not just me. I'm not just doing this by myself. I create the structure, and I have a lot of pretty good ideas, let's be fair. But most of the stuff that happens in Unicult is coming from the devoted members, from the magicians, from the regular members, from people who are putting the time and the energy into regularly showing up, creating content, and doing so with their passion and understanding Unicult. Okay, the fourth one, which looks see-through, but it's actually green, is Uniacres. Uniacres! Uniacres. We're working on Uniacres. We're trying to get property. But Uniacres is so much more than property. Uniacres is about sustainable living and community organization for the most effective creation and distribution of resources. Uniacres is about property, it's about community, it's about harmonious community in a singular living space, it's about inclusive community, and it's about accessible community. But it's also about the distribution of resources. And you have to think about what that means and why those things are connected in the UNICULT structure. It's because I'm a genius. But when you organize society effectively, when you organize communities effectively, your problems of resource distribution are instantly fixed. You know, we're having all these supply chain issues right now, and it's because the distribution of resources and the distribution models of how manufacturing works is reliant on large scale factories. But since we have seen the invention of 3D printers and we're going to see more small scale manufacturing being able to happen, not just with craftspeople, but with advanced machinery and algorithmic interpretations of creation, we're going to have a cottage industry, a renaissance of cottage industry. And this is actually a really good thing because the closer you are to the things that are being created, the better connection you have to them, to the land, and then also to your own craftsmanship and your own powers of creativity. So if you're the person creating, like if you have your own loom and you're able to, it looks like a machine loom, and you're able to create whatever fabric you want, and you're able to create whatever clothes you want. Maybe you don't even have to learn how to sew. You've got some machines that can do it just down at your local library or some local hacker space or something like that. And it's easy for you just to dream up an outfit and then get it made in the physical world. You're going to have a much deeper connection to that item and to the process and to the materials than you do if you're just scrolling on some app and then you buy something and they ship it to you in plastic and you just throw it away at some point, right? These things are psychological and spiritually important. The distribution of resources also is tied into, you know, especially food. We have big agriculture that took over in the 80s. If you want to research all that, you know, the idea of go big or go home, you look up the history of that phrase, it's really fucked up. And it's literally robbed us of our nutrition. It's robbed us of our connection to the land. It's robbed us of people who care about their crops. They can't afford to care about their crops anymore. It's just it's dump and pump and harvest and rape the land um, and we deserve to have farmers and agriculture come back into our lives. We deserve to each have a connection to the food that we eat and to the food that is grown. And the distribution of that food should come from small scale organic communities that are able to put the energy and love into the food and then share the abundance. Food should not cost money. Food should not be a financial industry. So Uniacres, think about all the things I just said. Yeah, I want property. Yeah, we've sold a couple raffle tickets to try to get this property. We're trying to get a property, but the vision of Uniacres is so much more than that. We are really talking about a conceptual framework and that we're going to be able to practice this framework as we live together and practice the sustainability techniques and the distribution of resources within the community of mutual aid. We'll study all of that together and we'll create systems that are self sufficient, that don't rely on larger institutions. And there's reasons why these things have been eradicated from our society. We are being leached off of and profited off of in ways that we shouldn't be leached off of, that we don't deserve to be profited off of. We deserve to have our basic needs met. We deserve free access to food, clothing, shelter, etc. And it's actually not that hard to do if you have a brain and you have love in your heart and you have compassion at the root of your organizational endeavor. Unfortunately, the people who get the most money in our society are usually very greedy with it, and they get that money by being very cutthroat. So it's very hard for kind-hearted people to come into the kind of money that is needed for this. But we are working hard, we are praying, we are aligning, and we are convinced that a miracle will happen in our favor, and UNICULT will be able to show the world what we mean when we say Uniacres. Unicult Business Enterprises, UBE, the most exciting tier of Unicult is this uh, tech color blue. We have two blues. The tech color blue is the, I guess they're both tech color blues. One of them's more Twitter, one of them's more another platform. But Unicult Business Enterprises is just the business organization, legal department. This is where the board operates. This is where all of our book publishing happens. Any kind of legal stuff, paperwork, accounting, all of that really exciting stuff that's necessary for a nonprofit to run goes in that section. If you're like, oh my God, I love spreadsheets, I love organizing finances, let me know. We would love to have you. The next color blue is number 6. That's Unidata. We love our data. What's the point of data? Data is information. Unicult itself is structured around the idea of information theory. And information theory is that every single piece of anything is a piece of information that interacts with each other, and the relationship of each piece of information is even more information, and the relationship of each interaction is actually the grid or the spirit of uni or that which connects all dimensions. And I've never explained it quite like that. I kind of like it. The data that we generate has the potential to be given back to us in helpful and effective stories that help us make sense of our world, that help us make sense of ourselves, and that help us create better habits and more joy, help us expand our vibrational reality. So Unidata is the data collection for the benefit of the end user. We've all have our data collected, like I was saying earlier, kind of creepy how some of my data gets collected and then shown to me on different devices in the attempt to sell me products I don't need or want. That's not for the benefit of the end user. You could say, oh, you might want to buy it and then it'll make you happy. Buying things doesn't make you happy. Sorry to say. You can keep trying, but I don't think it's going to get you there. So the benefit of the end user, when you gather and organize mass amounts of biometric, location-based, situational, thought, mood-based data, allows you to create a story about your reality and an understanding of your habits, of your patterns, of your moods, and it can theoretically help you align your energy with the most expansive energy. We are hoping to create apps and services. One of the things that you might not expect, I don't have it out here, but it's in my bedroom, that is part of Unidata is actually Uniplanner. Yeah. Right here, you can see it. Uniplanner is it's a system of organization on paper that we want to turn into an app that can track your moods, your gratitude. It's meant to organize your life in a way that's very helpful, help you organize your data, as well as help you stay aligned with your spiritual practices. Uniplanner is like a little bit rudimentary, but it's actually quite advanced. It's rudimentary in the sense of like what we're gonna have eventually, but it's quite advanced for what we're able to do on paper. So I recommend getting Uniplanner if you're interested in Unidata and starting to track and analyze and even visualize the different data that you generate. This purple line right here, number 7, is this religion of Unicult. On Cam Church, normally that's what we're talking about, the religion of Unicult. It's the ideas of Unicult. And if you'll notice, the logo of Unicult isn't all about Unicult, the religion. That's because Unicult is so much more than the religion, but the religion is at the root of every part of it. The understandings and the view of the world that Unicult creates and generates in each person, and the understanding that we're all one, and the understanding to harm none, these are at the forefront or at the underpinning, at the root of all of the different endeavors. So, let's say that we have Eve and we're going to create a robot brothel. And what would be the best way to create that robot brothel? Would it be to employ people for the lowest possible price and treat them like garbage and not give them any time off? No. Any Unicult endeavor is going to have humanity and life energy at the forefront of its understandings. The last one is for uniform, number 8, and uniform is the redistribution. Let's see how I say it. Restructuring global fashion through sustainable technologies. It has a little bit to do with Uniacres in the sense that we really do want to redistribute the. I'm trying to remember decentralized manufacturing with regards to clothing. This has to do with digital clothing as well, and just creating fashion. I mean, ultimately, my goal with uniform is to create outfits that actually reflect our internal state at all times, because then we would be forced to live in an authentic reality if your clothing was vibrating at the same frequency as your internal state. That's where I like where I come from, like that's how it is. Like everyone can see your aura. So if you're sad, everyone can see your aura, and like the goal isn't to like to make you more sad. The goal is to say, "Oh, wow, how can we help?" And everybody wants to see the beautiful expansion of everybody's light. So when you see that someone's sad, you can see it. Here we don't see it, you know. We just like get a sense and then we're mean to each other for some reason. But where I come from, you can see the resonance that each person is operating at. And if we theoretically had clothes that could do that, then we couldn't lie about, "Hey, how are you?" "Oh, I'm good, thanks. How are you?" It'd be like, "Oh, you're obviously not good. Like, you look really depressed. Like, what can we do to support you?" But that's like a separate thing. Fashion is awesome. The fashion industry sucks. I love fashion. I participate in fast fashion because it feeds my soul to be expressive in all these different ways, and I feel so limited um, in so many ways on this planet, and fashion is not one of those ways that I feel limited. I honestly don't even like Halloween because I'm like, I already dress up how I want to completely every single day. I like the sky's the limit. However I want to dress, I dress every single day. I want to dress like a wizard, I dress like a wizard. I want to dress like a fairy, I dress like a fairy. I want to dress like a mermaid, I dress like a mermaid. I dress however I want every single day. And for me, that's very healing for my soul. So I want to see us feel expressive. I want to see us feel expansive with our amulets and our physical, anthropological, expression of ourselves and the meaning that we can communicate through our fashion without the exploitation, without the massive waste, without the plastics. We want to create new materials. We want to create uh, mostly new materials, materials that can change. Like, what if you just wore the same thing every day, but it looked different? That'd be cool. Lots of ideas there. We're not done with the logo, though. There's two more parts. We've got the eye of the logo and the horn. And the eye of the logo represents media. Media is a part of information theory for us, and it has to do with brainwashing and all the media ventures that we undertake. All media in UNICULT must benefit the end user, and the reality of the brainwash spiral and the eye has to do with the power that we have to communicate with each other through media. All things are pretty much media, all audio, visual recordings, all of our communication can be considered media. I've even read papers that argue that religion is a form of media. And the definition of media is very loose. So when we look at Unicult and we look at the ideas that we have to reach people and the way I think of media is like you take a thought form and you put it into somebody else's brain. And there's a couple ways you can do that. You can do it with subliminal understandings where people just pick up on the ideas and they don't think deeply about them. We call that brainwashing. It's not ideal, but it works. Or you can take the idea and you can put it into someone's brain through the active, effective communication, through building a bridge between your understanding of the concept and their understanding of the concept. And you can create an exchange of information flow and expand that information and create a duplicate, slightly different duplicate of that information. It's an interesting concept, really, because it has to do with computers and how computers duplicate information identically, such as a clone. But in humans, it's never duplicated like a clone. The expansion of the slight manipulation of data as it enters into other people's brains has something to do with humanity. And as we're creating AI, as we're creating systems, conscious entities in digital form, that might be something that we want to look into. I did write about that in my book, A Spiritual Approach to Emergent Technology. But anyway, the idea of media is this exchange of information, the ability to impart an idea, and through shared ideas we expand. Through shared ideas we create a higher vibrational reality, because the more ideas you have, the better equipped you are to choose which reality you want to believe in, to choose which reality. You have more tools, right? It's who doesn't love knowledge? Who doesn't love information? So we really try to use different forms of media, mostly known forms of media, such as audiovisual media, streaming on YouTube, streaming on the internet, posting on TikTok, and communicating with each other on technology to expand our reach as far as unicultists and to reach as many people as possible. Because the people in Unicult know how much Unicult has helped them. And when you know how much something helps you, it's easy to say, wow, I'm so happy that the media was created that helped me understand these concepts. And then the desire becomes, I want to help other people understand. I want to create media that will help other people get to the same point that I got to have the resources that I got to. All of you here today are here because of the media that I created and because of the media that other corporations created, such as Vice and MTV and all these other places that created media about me, and from the other people who have created media about Unicult, talking about our ideas, either from a place of trying to make fun of us or from a place of genuinely trying to exchange this information into the higher vibration. So media is very important in Unicult. This is how we are operating. This is how we are changing the world. The goal, like I said, is to affect every industry. When we can take our ideas and put them into thousands of different people's brains, they create the resonance and the change that is then spread and vibrating out into the world. The horn represents the steps on the path to joy. If you're in Unicult, we have a path to joy, which is covered earlier in the book. And the path to joy is just kind of a reminder that healing is not a linear process, and we get to focus on different aspects of it all the time. I was saying that I'm depressed. I have, spent some time recently thinking about the path to joy and how part of the first step on the path to joy is cynicism. And it's not a straight shot. You don't just overcome cynicism and get to hopefulness and then blah, 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 blah down the road. Sometimes you cycle back. Sometimes you process different parts of it all at once. The path to joy is very important in Unicult. It's a fundamental teaching. As you participate in Unicult, you will have opportunities to do the work of your true heart within the structure. Unicult provides support, training, guidance, and collaboration for you to find and embody the work of your true heart. I am so honored that you have chosen to change the world with us. If you are not already a member, join Unicult. Feel free to interact with other Unicult members on any of the existing Unicult platforms. You can ask any questions and share your ideas. May you be blessed with the highest blessings available. You need bless. So if you have any questions, you can call 1-833-UNICULT. That's our hotline. A real live cult member will talk to you and answer your questions. And I hope that this was educational, even if you are a member of Unicult. It's always fun to talk about the vision and the structure because it gets me excited. And I hope it does the same for you when we remember, like, wow, look at how much we've set our sights on doing, and also look at how much we're doing. Like I said earlier, we do quite a lot with not that much. Like, we don't have that many active members every single day, but we do have a global impact. And that's pretty amazing. So you can do a lot just as one single person. I'm up here today because I didn't die, because I wasn't able to kill myself, and this is what I chose to do with my life. And I have had an impact on the entire world. Just because I have determination, I have had focus, I have a vision, and I just apply myself to it every single day. You are changing the world just by being alive. You are a spiritual leader. When we collaborate, when we put our energy together, when we all work together, we expand, our powers increase, and we have an even greater ability to impact the world. So if you want to see the world become a better place and you think that Unicult makes sense, every amount of energy that you put towards Unicult, every amount of energy you put towards even just spreading these ideas, even if you're not part of Unicult, just like the fact that we're all one and the fact that we can heal evil and the fact that like there is a hopeful future waiting for us, you are changing the world by believing in those things and aligning with those things.